thing that we want to do now is we want to work with a concept that is really handy in terms of getting started and also having all your elements already there so that you don't need to think about, okay, what actually do I want to put in this track, or what does the track actually need? Like, we take care of this question by answering it with the idea of the 8 groups, which is basically like a selection of main elements that you find more or less in every track of electronic music, and that has really worked well, and that we use that in Spirit. And so the idea is that we would create 8 groups first, and at the beginning we just focus on audio, like in this session, and then later we come to MIDI also. So now we don't need to work with MIDI. So we have the first audio channel, and we want to make a group. So we could right click and then group tracks, right? And then we have the first group.
Yeah.
And you see, like, now we have this channel within this group. And I can open and close the group to make space, in my mixing view, or to just open it and see all the elements that are in the group. I could even create another channel in the group. So I can click on this channel. So this means I'm in the group, right click, insert audio track. And now I have another track in the same group, right? But I could also take this track, take it out, and then right click again and create another group. So the idea is that we're going to create 8 groups, and each group will be space holder or like a channel for different elements that are important for the track. And we will also give them a name and ideally also a color, because color coding is really helpful in terms of organizing your projects, like the more elements you have in your track, like we can keep it simple at the beginning, but like sometimes I have up to 60 different channels, and then it's just good to have color coding, to have a visual representation of the section within the arrangement and stuff. So it's really good to start with those things from the beginning and stay organized. It will be really helpful. Also, especially if you revisit projects after a while and you haven't seen it and you just have this visual representation. So the first group we will create and give it a name, and you can just right click and rename. And the first one will be drums. And this will contain everything that you can also find in a realistic drum kit. So for instance, the bass drum, whether it will be acoustic or synthesized with the drum computer. It's things like a snare, hi-hats, toms, cymbals, stuff like that. So everything that you find in a real drum kit will be in the drums group. So the second group, we can also rename it by hitting Control R or Command R, which is the keyboard shortcut. So the second group will be the bass group. This will contain all the elements that are considered to be bass, melody, or instruments. This can be like a real bass, like a bass guitar, or this can be synthesized bass sounds. It can be like a sub bass and the harmonic bass, like whatever. Everything in the lower melody registers will go in this bass group.
I see.
And then we create another track, which we also could do with Command T or Control T, and then we can just Command G for grouping it, creates the group, and then Command R again for renaming it. And the third one we will call pads. And this is all the stuff that is more like in the background, but it's really giving like feeling to the track, like could say like it's chord progressions and it's like sound carpets. It's like stuff that for me personally is really important. And I always start the track with the pads when I create. So when I'm looking for elements, I always start with the pad, because for me, it sets the tone of the track. It creates a certain feeling. It creates a certain landscape. And so everything that is kind of, and mostly it's like chord progressions already. So it's like a couple of chords, at least 2, let's say. Could also be 1 chord, just repeating. But at least, let's say, 1 chord is playing, or usually it's a chord progression. of some sort of mostly synthesized sounds, can also be like strings or whatever, but usually it's more like synthesized sounds. And for me, it's the most important element, because for me, the most important is the emotional approach. Some people find it more important to have the rhythmical connection with the track, so you can have like this focus on speaking to the body.
Yeah.
Mainly, for me, I'm mainly speaking more to the emotions and to the heart. So I like focus on the pads. This is my main focus, and everything is being created around it. But you could also just make a bouncy track, and then you can focus more on the beat side with the drums and the bass and stuff and percussions, and not put so much emphasis on the pads. But this is just my approach. So this would be pads. And this needs to be harmonic, it's like not textural stuff. It can have textures, but still needs to be harmonic. For the other stuff that's enharmonic, we have another group later. Okay, so now we create the next track, group it, rename it. And the fourth one will be lead. And this is all that we can understand as the lead element, which can be lead vocals. It can be like a lead melody, like any instrument basically playing a melody that is kind of the lead, and this is kind of the center of the track. It's kind of the hook. It's kind of what you're attached to as a listener. And yeah, it's definitely something you want to have in front and center. And this can be any instruments or the vocals. This will be the lead section. And we could also like start giving colors, like I usually put the drums, like if you right click on the top of the channel, right click, and then you have all those color options. And usually I make the drums black and the bass line blue. You can totally do your own way, it's like totally up to you. The pads like that, the leads like that. This is like my color coding so far. And then I put another group. And this one will be percussion. So this is all the rhythmic elements that you don't find in a natural drum kit, like congas, tablas, bongos, like all those percussion instruments basically, except shakers, because they will get their own group, because they are also really important and you want to treat them differently in the mix and everything. So, and also for the live set, because the thing is also, we already have the live set in mind, because at some point we will bounce the groups to audio, all the content. So we will make stems out of them, out of the material. Let's say like the drums group contains like 5 different channels, like a kick drum, hi-hats, a snare, and a tom, for instance. And then we would like maybe put out all the drums in one group, or maybe like the kick may be separate. Depends on the live set that you're aiming for. But that's the whole idea, already having the live set in mind. So that you have like those elements already organized, and then you can bounce them at some point. And this is also good to have the shakers as an individual track, because they add so much dynamic to a track, so much drive and speed and movement, so that you want to treat it differently and you just want to have control over it, right? So because like at the live set, you have to find the balance between how much control do you want to have, but you will still be able to perform in a way that is not overwhelming your mind or that is not stressing you, right? So you just put the right amount of elements that you want to have control over and that you want to change and arrange on the fly while performing. But at the same time, you want to have like keep a structure, and you want to keep it simple enough to not be stressed and then don't enjoy the performance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this will be the percussion thing. And then, as I said, the next one will be the shaker.
Shaker.
So this speaks for itself. It is like all kinds of shaker elements, which can be shaker on its own, but also everything else that is sounding like a shaker or has the function of a shaker that can be synthesized, or there's so many different like kinds of shakers, It could even be the hi-hats if it's like super quick hi-hats or like 16th notes or something, and it has the same function. Then you could put it here even, like if you wanted it to be separate. from the drum group. It's up to you basically, but this is a space holder for that. And then we have the next one, which I personally just call other, because the eighth one is determined again, but the seventh for me is undetermined. So I just call it other. And you can put basically anything in there that you don't find fits somewhere else. Those can be bridges, you know, it can be just some percussion loops that are bridging one track from the other. This can be, yeah, I don't know, like a vocal sample, maybe like you have like a quote from Alan Watts, or I don't know, and you want to put it in, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Can go to other. So this is basically like a space holder for additional elements that just spice up the arrangement or the track. And then the last one is determined again. And this is ambience and effects. And this is everything that has like field recordings, nature sounds, but also stuff like transition effects and things like that that just occur once, but that make the arrangement more interesting, or that fill the spaces, or that put emphasis on stuff, you know. So this is the last one. And then let's color it. So this is white. This is gray. This is another shade of blue. And this is, all right. So now we have the main elements, 8 groups. And now we know what we are looking for in terms of getting elements together to create a track. And the way that I see it, the way I approach it, is more like a painting, right? So now you have like this blank canvas, but now you already have chosen, you know, like the colors you want to work with.
Yeah.
And now it's about making the nuances. So now you're looking to find the right combination of colors to make it fit.
It's stuck.
Hello?
Okay. Yeah. It comes
yeah.
back.
I think and hope on the video everything will be like super fluent and no disruptions.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, like the videos, they're constantly recording and there's no disconnection. All right. So yeah, I just said like now we have selected like, let's say, the tone of the track, or like selected the colors, and now we want to find the right combination. So like my approach would be to find a beautiful pad to begin with, right? So I would check out the pad group, and now I would go to the samples and select, like, let's see, you know, maybe organic chill out. And then you see like there's all those different sections, and maybe in atmospheres, maybe there is something. See, there's like different BPM also. And we can set the tempo, maybe like start at 90 or something, more down tempo, or maybe 95 as it suggests here. And then have to listen to these things. They're both kind of beautiful. The funny thing here is that you don't really see the key, right? So usually there's an indication at the beginning of the sample saying A minor or G sharp major or whatever. In this case, it doesn't, which is interesting. And it's on the edge, you know, it's on the edge of being textural and harmonic, but it's still a bit harmonic. And I really love the sound of these. So what I'm doing in general is just collecting, you know, first of all. So I just drag the things that I like.
Yeah.
To make like a pre-selection. And I I chose those because they sound warm. You know, usually I'm going for warm things, mysterious things, dreamy things. Like I don't want something like too crazy, like this. This is like really specific. If I wanted to make a sci-fi track or like something on another planet, then I would maybe choose this one. But for now, let's keep it simple and just stay with the emotions. So I would rename this one like maybe drones, you know, because that's the thing. Like if it's more like just one tone,
okay,
then it's more like a drone. And this one I know already. I remember I used it in a track already, and I really like it also. I like really both of them. So yeah, let's see. So this is the drones thing. And at some point we have to find out what key it is or adjust it to the key, because that's the thing. Like you want to make sure that all the elements that you choose are in the same key, because otherwise it will sound disharmonic and not so pleasing, and it will cause irritation most of the time. Okay, so let's see what else we have here. 100. Nice. I use this one also. Definitely this one is really nice. It has a lot of movement and texture, and it's a bit like mysterious also. A bit too dark. Wow, nice. But also too dark. I don't want to make something dark, so I'm not choosing it. Okay, and then the last one. Oh, that's nice and warm and crisp. That's super deep. Like if you want some extra depth, that's a super nice. Sounds more like dub techno. Okay. So that's it for the drones. Maybe let's see if we can find something harmonic, melodic. That's very beautiful, but it's almost like a lead already. It's like a melody more. So maybe the key section has more like pads. I mean, it's all just piano, but maybe there's something. So this already has like a lot of color, like more like jazzy stuff. This is not what I'm looking for, but it was clear it was the Rhodes piano. So maybe there I'm not going to find what I'm looking for, and I have to check another sample pack. That's a cool thing. We have a lot of things to choose from, and this is the beautiful thing. Like working just with samples is a creative limitation, because you will definitely end up using sounds you would have never thought of using if you wouldn't have had the sample available, you know, like, because now at some point you feel like, okay, now I have the key and now I have the vibe and now I need to find samples that fit, but you don't think like, oh yeah, I definitely need like a violin that sounds like that. Maybe you do, you know, but you end up using stuff you wouldn't have, and this will always keep it sort of original and surprising, you know, like this will guarantee that you have like some surprising elements.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we have a drone. Maybe let's see if we can find chord progression. So I will maybe check out this one here. And here we have like keys again. see. Oh, that's beautiful. That could almost be a lead sound. I would just put it there now for consideration.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that a lot also. It sounds like really almost distorted, but I really like this. I really sometimes like this lo-fi, you know, it gives this sense of imperfection and instability, and there's something attractive to it. Holy shit, this is also really good. It might already mean that I have to gravitate towards C minor, because the most samples that I've found so far are really, that the nice ones are in C minor, and it's a nice key in general to work in.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I could even still like repitch the drones if I want to make them fit to C minor, you know? So maybe C minor is what we're going for here.
Okay.
Super nice. This can be like a bridge or a section in between or on the break, or I don't know, but it definitely sounds beautiful. And I'm now just going by feeling, you know, I'm just what feels good and sounds good at the same time. And I don't know yet what I will do, but I'm just selecting stuff. Oh yeah, I love those super high melody instruments. Definitely in.
Yeah.
Yes, please, all of them. Yeah, it's always good to have some variation. All right, that's it here with the C minor, I guess. Yeah, like those kind of things I would use for outro or intro, you know, they're super beautiful to just like take the people somewhere, you know, like gently come to this world, you know, I want to show you something without being like too much in the face, but already like being like super sensitive and emotional. I love that. All right, that's cool. So maybe what we have here, note. So now I'm checking the same tempo because I want to be them like close to each other in terms of the vibe, because it's a stretch already from 75 to 95. It's kind of a stretch.
Yeah.
And it's at some point it sounds disharmonic, or no, not disharmonic, but artificial. So I'm not checking the 65 now, because this will be a stretch of 30 BPM, you know, for Ableton to warp it. So I think 20 is the maximum I want to stretch here now. Otherwise, I would have really go down. If, like, let's say I find a sound here that I really love, I would have to go down to 85 or something to make it sure that in the warping process, it doesn't lose its original character, you know, because warping is a time stretching algorithm. And it's cool that Ableton can do that in terms of that you can play different BPMs without affecting the pitch.
Yeah.
But it has its
limitations.
And I like 20 is the biggest stretch that I'm going to make in a BPM. So I'm checking with 75 now. Crazy. This one could actually go well with the high mallet sounds. And at this point, I just create another group because I don't want to have like 100 samples.
Yeah, the
same, exactly. Yeah, this one fits the same feel. interesting. It sounds a bit too bright for me. Maybe I would use a filter to take some of the high frequencies out, but it's not like super convincing. And it's more like just, you know, you hear it and you feel it like instantly. If you don't feel it instantly, then you can forget it.
Yeah.
I don't like the color.
Oh, it's funny.
What, you like it or what?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing, man. You would definitely choose completely different elements, but that's also the beauty of it. You know, nobody will do the same track,
Of course.
and even if with the same approach. So
Yeah.
let's check what's here. Like dulcimers. Ooh, that's nice. It's all A minor, but we have here something. Yes, this childlike innocence. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for consideration. I don't know if I will end up using it, but who knows? Yeah, this can be nice for a dramatic build-up.
Yeah.
Also. Sounds too cheap right now because it's radio guitar. I mean, they did it on purpose to make it feel like it sounds on the radio, but I don't like this. It sounds too cheap. Yeah, if I want to have the track getting a lot of drive at some point, I could use this one.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, I don't even know like where it's going, you know, like for me, the whole process is like trial and error. You know, I don't think like, oh yeah, I want to make a track, you know, that feels like this. I have no idea. I'm just like enjoying listening and then doing in the moment and just surrendering, you know, to the process and being without any agenda. And just, yeah, taking what feels good. Okay, so I think we have a super solid foundation now already. For the pads, there's a lot to choose. I could go further, but for the sake of like using also the other elements, let's maybe find some other sounds. So now it's pretty obvious that we are in C minor. That is pretty clear.
Yeah.
So let's check the key of those drones. So we can use a tuner. It's working more or less well with single tones, not so much with textured material. So let's see if the tuner is showing me something. In the audio effects, I go to the tuner, which is actually used for tuning instruments, but you can also just check the pitch. So let's see. So that's a G. Here it cannot find it. I think it's a D minor because I used it in a D minor track, or maybe I pitched it. Yeah, see, and here the tuner is overwhelmed. Yeah. Another thing we could do to try to find it out is the convert to MIDI function, which is super cool. So let's say this one, I know it's in G, so I can write it, you know, just for me as a mental note. This is in G. And this one, I don't know. Like one other way would be using the EQ, EQ8. So I put the EQ8 on here. Yeah. Play the drone. And I look for the fundamental frequency, which is I expand this. It's also G, looks like it. You know, it's like showing me like whatever frequency I'm in right now, like it's showing me in this little blue window here on the left bottom of the EQ. It's showing like a note, like the frequency and then the corresponding note. So this is like not the most accurate thing to do. So we want to try the MIDI function just to see if this is better. So we could have different options now: convert harmony to MIDI track, convert melody, or drums. But I would choose convert harmony because it's more like a chord progression and not like such a distinctive melody. So the melody I would use more for lead elements, and of course the drums for drum sounds. So let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Converting it now, which is basically analyzing the audio, the frequencies, and trying to find the pitches of the notes and giving us a MIDI clip representing the notes that are being played. And then here it created this whole new MIDI channel, and it by default puts it to this super crazy synthesizer, which sounds nothing like this at all, but we just want to have a look at the clip and see the notes, right?
Amazing.
So, oh, this is like C sharp. And we don't know if this is like accurate, but we have to see. So if I click fold now, and then we can see all the notes that Ableton detected, and then we can have a listen how it sounds on the synth. Probably horrible, but oh, not so horrible. Okay, so I know it's like kind of C sharp, so I can just tune it down one semitone and then it would be C again, right?
All right.
So if I double click now, so we can get rid of this for now. You could keep it for later, because actually it's nice, you know, like if you want to work with a nice sounding synth, you could totally add elements to it.
Yeah.
But for now, we don't use it. I'm not gonna delete it now, because maybe in the next class I will show you like how I would use this. So we keep it for here, but we focus on audio still.
Okay.
So we go back to the clip that we now found out is in C sharp, this one. And you can hear they work well together.
Yes, okay.
So that they are harmonic. So now I can turn off this MIDI clip by clicking the stop button down here. It will turn this off.
Yeah.
And now I double click on this clip here, this audio clip. And then I get into the sample editor window. And here I have a couple of options. I have a separate volume slider, so I could mix without affecting the overall channel volume. Like this is still set to 0. Mm-hmm. So I could set the individual volumes of my samples in here, you know, make it louder or quieter.
Yeah.
But what I want to do is changing the pitch. So I want to transpose it. And you have the transpose option, and you can go up and down in semitones, right? And a semitone is like half a note.
Yeah.
So 2 semitones is a whole tone, like in intervals. And I could even detune it in sense, which is more interesting when we talk about 432 and 440 and stuff like that. But right now I'm not going into this. I want to just make this that I know is a C sharp into a C. Mm-hmm. So all I do is like I go 1 semitone down.
Okay.
And now I have a listen. Check this one with some of the other stuff. As well. Oh yeah, we're super well. Yeah, and all of a sudden I have this super dreamy vibe already. Mm-hmm. And maybe I see like a jungle scene in the night or something, just because definitely this is for me like a night kind of vibe. It's not in the day happening. It's like more like towards the night, or like something more dark but warm. So I want to check now for the ambience and find a jungle sound. So what I'm doing before I create a beat, I create the whole atmosphere, you know? Because the beat is the least important for me. Of course, it's also really important at some point, but my main focus is to get the feeling right, because I want to keep myself excited while producing, and I want to keep myself enchanted while producing, you know, like I do this because I enjoy the feeling I get out of it, and I create this for myself like a sanctuary. So when I, you know, I just love to be in this place, and it gives me like joy and peace and all those beautiful feelings that I'm creating myself through this vibration. So now I feel like I want to have some nature sounds. So let's find some nature sounds of the jungle here in the samples. So I know that the mindful audio are pretty good. Actually, they're amazing. Let's see. Super high quality recordings with the best equipment that you can get for field recordings. Like this guy is like, this is his life mission, right? So we have here the night ambience with owls and frogs. And then calm night atmosphere. Yeah, maybe a calm night atmosphere for now. And then maybe let's see, the frogs could also be interesting. So I call this like nature. Put it very subtle in the background, right? I don't want to have it like too much in my face, but already I make like a little mix. So like not the details, but just little rough volume settings so that I can listen to it and still make adjustments, and yeah, and that it just feels good. Man, this is like a symphony in the night already, right? Like this is like the crickets making their music, and then this bow comes in, and all of a sudden this whole story creates itself basically, and I'm just witnessing. And yeah, that's super beautiful. I like it.
It's a pity because I think the sound here is not so good as your headphone.
Yeah, like if you can use headphones in general, it will be like a better experience. And then if you rewatch the video, the sound will be better anyway, because in the transmission right now, there can be like some bumps in the way, but I think on the video it will sound pretty consistent and pretty good.
Yeah.
But definitely, yeah, always use headphones. That definitely sounds better. All right, so I'm copying this now because I want to use some other samples as well at the same time. I still feel one element is missing before I'm looking at the beat. Yeah, and it's interesting right now. I don't feel those pianos anymore, right? Because I totally set a different vibe, and this brightness of the piano doesn't even fit the vibe of the track that I really like this nightly, mysterious, dreamy, in between kind of feeling. So I just get rid of it.
Yeah.
And the same, I guess, with this one maybe. Or what I could do, I really like the first chord. So I could just loop the first chord. It's already set to loop, but I could use the loop selector here, which is now set to 4 bars. But I go all the way to the right at the edge, and then you see this bracket, and I left click, hold it, and drag it all the way back so that I have just the first bar.
First chord.
First chord, yeah. Let's see how this sounds. like this is still like keeping the vibe. It's still in the same key, and it is adding dramatic, and especially if I put it like with the beat, then it makes even more sense. Then it's almost like rhythmical also.
Yeah.
So. And then I put the elements that I like on the top to make space. Like this is like the way of like preference, let's say. So the ones that I really like and that are like really important and in the focus are on the top, and the other ones are here as possible selectors. So for now, that's pretty cool. So let's check the beat maybe. Yeah, that's super nice already. I just like it. I wouldn't, of course, use it for the beginning, but I definitely like the sounds and the groove and everything. So I just put it for consideration.
Efficient. Okay.
Take all of them because I also really like to have variations. You know, just it's always good to have options. You don't need to use them in the end, but it's always good to have more so that you don't find yourself like, shit, something is missing and I don't know what to take. So just put everything that you feel in the selection, and then you will see what you will use in the end. I would try like a bass drum just to see how it all like sounds together with the oomph. So there's different options, like there's the drum hits, you know, like the kick. So I like my kicks not to be like super punchy right in the face. I like them warm and round. Like these guys, I love all of them. So yeah, let's just select a couple. And now I need to go and loop them. Because first I need to click warp. Without warping, no looping possible. So I click warp. And then I can loop it. And I need to set it to like 1 quarter note. Right? So this is like full bars, quarter note, 16th notes. So if I set it like this, it should play like every quarter note. Same here. the first stage of mixing would occur, because I want my bass drums. So everything in the mixing, at some point, everything needs to be mixed to the kick, or like that's my main reference, because in a way it's still like the most important element in dance music, and you want everything to be serving the pulse.
Yeah.
So the kick is basically setting the threshold, and I want to have the loudest part of my kick at minus 12 dB, just in general. So the idea is to not go over -6 on the master volume on the busiest part of the track. So when all the elements are playing at some point and everything is full energy, I don't want this to be louder than -6, because I want to give the mastering engineer headroom to make adjustments in this scale of 6 dB, put like a limiter and compressor and everything, and they will tell you, the mastering engineers, they will tell you, I need your pre-master -6 dB on the stereo sum. So this is just like, I want to set my kicks at -12, and then I can reference the volume of everything else. So I know that those kicks are normalized, which means they are set to 0 dB. So I can just set this channel to -12.
Yeah.
And then all the kicks should hit at -12 dB, which I can check here. See? Now they hit. So now I need to turn up the volume of my sound card. Yeah, they all hit at -12. And now I need to make readjustments, right, to the kick. So I can turn down all the volumes of all the elements, basically. So I start with the kick. And then let's bring in this pad. Super too loud, so I go down all the way and then bring it slightly up. This one I can also bring down. For now, and then we need to find maybe a bass line. So we will check now for bass lines C minor, and the way to do that is in the search bar, like right here. So you select this folder, like the chord samples, and then I type in just C minor.
Yeah.
And then all the samples that are labeled C minor will show up. So now I can listen and find, here's like the bass folder already. I'm looking for bass line, so let's see. Oh yeah, that sounds nice. Not just the first one. I don't want it to be like too melodic, but the first sounds, like the first notes, were really nice. So I just maybe loop the first notes.
Okay.
Because otherwise it takes me away out of this hypnotic state, right? Because everything is fighting for attention and everything is telling you maybe a different story, and we want to make it like consistent.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go somewhere else with this bass line, because this bass line is also like really like melodic and wants to take, just keep it with those notes. It's just adding groove and lower frequencies to it and filling that spectrum and adding dynamic, but without taking us out of this hypnotic state. So I would continue to collect percussions. I really like a lot of percussions and layering them. So I would just listen to more stuff and see also that it is not clashing so much in terms of the frequency content. So some more low stuff, some more high stuff, some stuff in the middle, and just see and feel how it sounds all together. Maybe try a different sample pack for this one. Maybe. Oh yeah, why not organic downtempo? And you can see it's already the stretch. It's like really the threshold, right? It's like 115 BPM is the original tempo, where they recorded the loops in 115. So in 115, they would sound super authentic. And now we are in 95, which again, I know it's 10, right? No, it's
20.
20, yeah, exactly. So it's like the distance is 20. So it's like really the edge. And you can already hear that they start to fall apart a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like this one. You could add that even to the drums, because it sounds more still like a snare, and it's kind of a mix between like an organic drum kit and like some Foley sounds and some real drum sounds layered on top of each other. Yeah, I like this one. I used this one before. So I'm looking especially, of course, for sounds that are complementing the vibe, right? And we're in the jungle and we're in the night and mystical. So I'm not 100% sure if I would go with this one, but still it's organic enough, you know, to not kill the vibe. But this one that I just found is definitely totally fitting, because it's like sounding like some leaf scraping, or I don't know, it has this shamanic energy to it. See, and I don't like the machine sounds so much, and I would just take them out, you know, with volume automation in the clip. So I would just take the volume out of the machine sounds, and just to check in, like right now, 1 hour is past. How do you feel? Like, how's your concentration and in general? You want to continue a bit more, or?
I can continue a little bit, yes. I have to go to the bathroom just quickly. And,
okay, yeah,
it's okay
sure.
to continue.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to know a little bit where we are in the process to be able to see where we are going now.
So we're still, like the whole process, like the main first step is still jamming and finding elements that work, because we want to select elements that we at some point gonna arrange. So we're filling the groups with stuff that we like, and then we try different things out and see how they work with each other. And this goes on and on and on, adding elements, trying out, until you have the feeling, okay, now we have everything you need. Now it's complete.
Yeah.
Now you don't need to add anything anymore, because you have all the percussions you need to create a beautiful dynamic and a beautiful increase and decrease in energy. You have an intro and outro sound. You have a nice bass line. You have a solid kick. You have beautiful ambience and effect sounds. And then you will have just this feeling, like it will, like a voice will tell you, okay, now it's complete. And then, then you can jam a little bit more. This is what I do. I jam for hours until I have the feeling, okay, now I know how I want to make the track. Like now I know which elements work well together, which elements I want to bring at what point.
Yeah.
And then I start arranging.
And you are only focused in one track, or you can imagine several tracks with what you are doing?
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing, like, and that's the challenge also, because every moment you open Ableton, you're in a totally different space. Right now, we are in this energy and this mood. And imagine tomorrow the sun is shining super bright, because now it's also a bit foggy here. You know, like if the sun would be shining and here would be like high life, I would maybe have created a total different track.
All right.
And that's the thing, like once you revisit it, and this is the beauty of the journey also, you know, like at least for me, like I don't know, like how I start. In the end, it's always completely different. Like it goes through many stages of metamorphosis.
Yeah.
And it's a journey without any destination, you know. Just at some point you arrive somewhere and then it feels good. But it's really rare. Like sometimes it's so rare that you're like so caught up and you just do it in one day, you know, like you're so on fire. And you have the time and the space to just keep going. And those tracks are mostly also the most amazing tracks that are done within like one day, because they have this momentum of excitement, and because it kept you exciting for so long, it must be there was some magic in it, you know. But more likely it's like, okay, you at some point feel exhausted or you need to do something else. You revisit it and you're in a totally different mood and you need to readjust maybe, and then maybe you change stuff again. You know, but that's also the beauty of creation for me, like to be able to surprise myself and to be able to adapt and change and always go with the moment, you know. It's always a snapshot of the moment for me. And since the moments are changing, the snapshots are changing also. I cannot force to maintain the vibe if I don't feel it, you know. But at the same time, we still have the trust that all those elements we selected work well together. That we know. So that's a cool thing. We can totally rearrange it and play with it in a different way, and this will happen automatically. But we can relax because it works all well together. So we don't need to create something completely new. We just might use it in a different order or in a different manner, but still the elements are there and they all work well together. And this is the good part of it. So you don't get lost, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. So I can continue. I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I also need to go to the bathroom. Then let's go to the bathroom and then let's maybe continue until like 10:30 and then we have 90 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
10:30 here. Okay.
This will be like 20 more minutes and then we can maybe check in again, right?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, cool. So let's go to the bathroom and then see you in a bit. I will stop the recording now. Please remind me to start it again.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Now, better?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right.
Recording is good. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The recording is on again.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the track. Ah, yeah, exactly. I wanted to take out this metal sound. So I will solo this channel now.
Yeah.
And then I will check the waveform and find where this machinistic sound or like this metal. And since they are the same, there's no difference. I can just go make it a 2-bar loop.
Yeah.
And now I want to take out this part. I could try to make it shorter even, you know, just see like, make it like this.
Yeah.
That's interesting because it's an odd timing kind of, right? So let's see how this feels in general. In the context of the rest, of course. Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of a polyrhythmic feel and it's a bit irritating because like with snares and stuff, you want to be them on 2 and 4. So it's like, this is more like a 3 kind of rhythm. So this is not working so well in this case. Sometimes it's interesting, but since there's a snare here, it's like super irritating. So we really need to automate the volume. So in order to go to volume automation, we have here this little symbol, which is 2 dots connected with a line. And if I click on this, see, it has this envelopes, exactly. So now I go to envelopes and I select clip. I don't want to change the volume of the mixer here. I want to change the clip. So I select clip and then I can volume transposition. So I could even automate the transpose function, but I want to automate the volume and it just goes straight on to 0. So I go to the pen, which is also the shortcut B on the keyboard.
Okay.
The letter B on your keyboard. And I just draw it all the way down to 0%. So this way it's just cut off. And then let's see how this sounds. Exactly. So now it's good. And now something is missing here, which is okay like that. But I also want to try just what happens if I put it all the way back and then have the snare going all the time. Maybe. Let's see. I know I like it more with the space in between.
Yeah.
So I put it back to 2 bars and just cut off. Yeah, since this is the lead, I just figured it needs to be louder. So some adjustments. This is also what's happening all the time. You will make adjustments to the mix as you keep adding elements. And this is not the final mix, but it's just, you know, to keep the vibe good and to see like what is working well. And let's see if we need more shakers, definitely. Yeah, let's add some shakers also. So I would go to the core samples and I would just search for the shakers. And then let's see what we have here. Yeah, that one is nice.
Yeah.
So I take this one. And I feel But I would love to have some variation going on also. So I would just duplicate this clip.
Okay.
And see if I play with the transpose, what happens. So I want to have like going up and down and just see, you know, like so. It's not working so well with the bass line, and like the intervals you choose, like 7 semitones is like a fifth.
Yeah.
In difference, so could also go like a fifth down or like a fourth. Those are the perfect intervals that could still work. So see, I like this movement between the two, or like this relationship, but then everything else is not fitting. So this would be, could be an invitation. Let's say, like, if I feel that so strongly, I could go in another direction, but I'm not doing that now. So I discard this idea for now. Okay. And keep with the elements that I know work all well together, because everything so far worked super well together.
Yeah.
And it would take a lot more energy and time to make this new thing fit, you know, although I really love the movement between the two, but it's not working so well with the rest. So for now, I just let go of this idea and try to keep it as it was. Too much movement now. So that's the thing. Like, you have all kinds of different options. Now I just looped a very tiny bit of the whole drone sound, and now it's actually not a drone anymore, but a super, almost like a staccato synth. And I love these kind of sounds, you know, because they are subtle and they still have like some sort of atmosphere, but they give so much drive to the track, you know. And this is the thing, like, now all of a sudden this track becomes a lot of like the potential to be a lot more like dynamic and speedy, but I really like in general how it sounds. You can even play with that, right? You could like have like one that is not like super fast, you know, that's like maybe like 3/16 notes, or like one quarter note. Works also, you know, and in this way you can build up progressions, and then the arrangement at some point is all about building tension and release. So I will create 3 copies of this one. Put this one down for now, and those guys up, and create like different versions with different loop length. So this is the quarter note. So then this one I make it shorter, maybe 2/16 notes, and this one I make super short. So this one will be like the super fast one. The immediate. And then I would have to inverse the order actually, because I want to go from slower to faster, because I want to build it up. So now we have the fastest down here. And then I would also give it like different colors, because that I see it's like more or less like the same element, but different intensities, right?
Okay, yeah.
So and then it's always good to see like how everything feels and works if you turn on or off certain elements. Like this is like right now, because you don't want to have the lead playing all the time, right? So I'm just checking how does it feel if the lead is turned off, and it still works well together. It still has dynamic and function. Okay, so now I feel like this would be like one of the main parts of the track, or like let's say when the track is already developed, you know, and it's playing, like this would be like the meat of the track, or like let's say like very, like this is a snapshot of a very dynamic part later in the arrangement.
Yeah.
So now I would try to find out how would be the introduction vibe, right?
Yeah.
So I turn all the clips off again and just play the nature sound, because this is for me always there at the beginning. And then let's see which could be the introduction pad. Interesting. Sometimes I feel it's too fast, and I change the tempo by clicking like multiplied by 2, and then it's like double the BPM, so it's a 150 now, and then it plays like double the time. So now it's like instead of a 2-bar loop, it has become a 4-bar loop, because I want to stretch it out a little bit. And I definitely like the tempo, but now you hear it sounds artificial. So what you could do is change the warp mode to repitch. which will make sure that it still sounds natural, because usually what like happens if you change the tempo, the pitch changes automatically. If you have like a turntable and the record is spinning and you spin the record quicker, like the pitch goes up, and you slow the record down, the pitch goes down. So now if we have repitch, what happens if we change the tempo, like, so now the pitch should go down. So let's have a listen how this sounds, but then it should be the natural sound again. And this works a lot better for me already, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of experimental and abstract, but I also kind of like it. So this is like a potential candidate. So let's see what happens if we do it here also. Like ×2, which means that will be double the length, and then repitch. So it will be adjusting the pitch. No, that's too slow again. So now I'm changing it. But this one again. It could work. And sometimes I like the intro to be in a different vibe than in the main track, you know, because it's like, the idea is to take the listener from where they were before, like, let's say listening to another track, maybe in a DJ set or like in an album or whatever. Now to take them and prepare them for the next journey, and already set the stage a little bit without going too much into the action. So this is an interesting candidate. Let's see how this, here we have the guitars. Maybe this one. Oh, that's a very beautiful new lead. So I need to create a new track for this one. Totally forgot about this. That's cool also. I can see this adding to the madness that is happening anyway, because like speeding up. So if I want to speed it up even more with another color, I could use this pizzicato violin. But it's not for the intro for sure. It's way too dynamic. Oh. This might also be more working as a bridge, because if you play those together, like first this, and then this, oh, that's a perfect bridge. This will introduce the breakdown at some point.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Good to know that. So I already, yeah, this will not work with the pitch, but here I can totally set it here and make sure that I use them together. So I just give them colors.
Okay.
Right. So this way I highlight stuff and that I know that I want to use together, or that have a certain relationship with each other.
Yeah.
Okay, we still haven't found the intro stuff, which means maybe we need to check again for another pad, right? So because the stuff we have here, we checked everything. Bell piano we had over there, so we can get rid of this. I don't want to have duplicates here. Too bright. Now we can get rid of these because they are on the other channels. This can also go away because they are here. See the guitar, but this is also maybe something for later or in between. it totally reminds me of this amazing medicine musician. I don't know if you know Rainer Scheurenbrand.
I know.
Man, you have to check him out. I need to send you the link. He's like an insane guitarist, like his arpeggios. And then he's singing medicine songs, and he's been working with ayahuasca for many, many years. And wow, just his music is super beautiful. And he has sometimes starting tracks like this. And this totally reminds me, this could actually work with a lot more effects, like a lot more reverb and delay. Could be super nice.
Yeah.
So I put some reverb. Yeah, I like that. So I choose the frozen build-up, which means it's freezing the reverb tail. At some point you need to unfreeze it, but this creates also this drone kind of sensation, right? So if I unfreeze it, it's just like that. Which gives it a nice ambience also, but if I freeze it, oh, it creates a super ethereal, droney kind of feel. And then maybe like a delay, let's see, just a simple delay for now. Actually, what I feel, what I would do here is use another effect that's super amazing that I use also for DJing a lot, and it's a multitude of effects, but happening within one knob. It's called Fade to Gray, and you find that in the audio effect rack. So you go to audio effects, audio effect rack, and then you go to performance and DJ, and then you choose the knob 1, Fade to Gray. And this is basically like, if you have a look at it, it's like an EQ and a delay. And if you twist the knob, you know, like many parameters change at the same time, and it's fading the sound in and out, and it sounds like this. You know, and I would totally automate this. And I put the reverb at the end of the chain here, because I want to have the reverb having after the delay and not before. I mean, it's up to your taste, right? But it will definitely affect the way it sounds. If you put the reverb after the delay, then the delayed signal will be reverberated. But if you put the reverb before the delay, then the reverb will be delayed. It's a totally different story. Usually I put the reverb at the end of the chain, always, like the last thing. It's just my preference. But you can experiment with it. But totally, I would like automate this in the arrangement at some point to have it fade in slowly, you know? So I start like this. You hear it like echoing, like really subtle, just the high frequencies.
Yeah.
And then I bring it slowly down. And then I bring it back again. And then maybe some silence, and then maybe the lead can come in, I don't know. Let's see how this feels. Yeah, works well. And then going from there, you know? Wow, so we found our intro. That's epic. So now, yeah, some reorganization, putting that up here. I'm even wondering how it sounds with the second delay guitar, because we have another one.
Oh, yeah.
Just see how they work together. Yeah, it works both ways. I mean, interesting. You would have to see in the end what feels better, but definitely they go super well with each other, and you could like make a super extended intro, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like if you produce for like ecstatic dance floor or like, you know, movement, embodiment, whatever, you can totally take the time and space, you know, that you don't need to rush it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and I totally feel like this could get like a 10, 15-minute journey if we want it to be, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really up to your preference. And the cool thing is also for the live performance, I would totally have these guys available like that.
Yeah.
So I could totally play around with it, you know?
Yeah.
I could have this loop for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to say something? You were inhaling as if you wanted to say something.
Yeah. I had a question. When you input the effects, then the effects is also going onto the second sample of guitar.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Those effects affect the whole channel.
All
so
right.
Those are insert effects, and you see they have each sample that will be played, like even those Glock sounds here.
Okay.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, even for that.
Yeah.
So nice. Oh, man, even this could be the intro.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Man, we're creating a masterpiece here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Epic. It's the sweet melody of the night in the jungle.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see how they work together with the guitar. I duplicate the channel.
Okay.
They go super well together.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Even for live performance, this is so nice.
Oh yeah.
You can go crazy with that. Just play around with this for 5 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I love it. And see, that's the thing, like I had no intentions. We were just open and present and just listening and putting stuff. And Ableton allows us to create a magical journey out of it, you know? And this is why I love it so much, this program, and in general, this way of creating.
Yeah.
Not just being open, letting things flow, and then being guided by your feelings. And all of a sudden, we have this next masterpiece here.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, I'm super excited about this one. It's epic. Yeah. And still, like, everything is open, right? So like, and that's the thing, like, you could any day revisit it and come up with a totally different journey.
Yeah.
And this is how we can make an EP like super easy. You have just one project and you just have like 4 different approaches. One more ambient, one more like super dancey, one in between, you know.
Ah.
And then you can have different versions of more or less the same elements, and yeah, like have like the signature sound throughout the whole EP, for instance. Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, like, I almost feel like we have all more or less the elements, or we could totally start from here to build an arrangement, you know. The only thing that's maybe missing is like here we don't have anything in other, which can also come in later, because we can make at some point like a rough layout of the track, and then at some point really make the details, you know, like step by step while the track is being arranged. And then add here and there like some nice little sparkle, you know, and some nice little rattle sound or whatever just comes in once, which could also go to ambient effects, which we could maybe have a look at also, so that you have another understanding of how I use them. So I create another audio effect and just play some beautiful melodies here and go to the samples. Sounds and effects. Okay, so here they are very specific. It's all A minor and it's like gongs and stuff. So in this pack, maybe it's not what I'm looking for, but I know this one has a lot. Organic Downtempo has good stuff. So I check here the SFX section. Something like this, right? Sounds still like leaves are rattling or something. So I put it here. Yeah. Could be like a moth or something, like a big insect flying. Ocarina. You know, it's a different tuning. It's an A minor, so maybe not this one, but this one. Good atmosphere. You know, those are all the nice tinglings for the ears, and this will also just make it more organic and more alive, stuff like that. And I have tons of those sounds at my disposal, and mostly I use also almost all of them. You know, you could even create sort of rhythms with those guys on its own. Like if you duplicate some of them, let's say like this one. This one can definitely repeat. this is too short. There needs to be more space in between. So I just make the sample length longer to 2 bars, so it won't repeat instantly. And I also feel they start at the same time. I wanted to start later, so I changed the start marker, like where the playback starts. Now it's at 1, so it starts at the beginning. But I can take it here, and I can put it all the way here. So now it starts playing with silence, and after 1 bar, it starts playing the loop. So now they are like a little bit part of each other.
Okay.
You know, and get an idea for the arrangement and try which elements work and which doesn't. And yeah, keep playing until at some point we feel like, okay, now we have enough elements. Now we need to create a story out of it and commit to an arrangement.
Yeah.
And that would then be the next step. And of course, also getting more organized, you know, like you see, like now, man, all those, all those guys need names.
Colors.
And yeah, so let's see.
Yeah.
So this one. And you want to have like a separate channel for all of them for the mixing also, you know, like in the end, you're going to bounce this group. So all of these guys will be as one audio file for your live set, which will be in this group. But for the mixing, you want to have everything separate. So we really need to create like one for each. So this one is the Shaker Rise.
Okay, yeah.
And this other one is the crumble. This one is the major. We have that already.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, here, like shaker on the top also. We still haven't used the other one. This could be just a part in between, like as a B section or something, because like they are very dynamic already, the drums, so I wouldn't have too much going on, and the function is obviously making you dance, so you don't need much, just the kick and maybe like some, yeah, like that. It works pretty well actually.
Yeah. Now just in between as a little bridge section and then go back to the lead melody. But this is definitely nice, nice stuff to add in between. So I will call it like bridge already for me as a mental note, because I totally feel this moment where maybe there's this bridge from the lead melody, like the second part, this one playing. And then we transition into this percussion part where it's just the percussions without the melody for 16 bars or something, to have this super wild tribal moment, like as a peak kind of. Yeah.
And then from there, slowly transitioning into the outro. Yeah. Okay, yeah, and then the names here, this is like the piano loop. Chord. This is the beautiful, what is that even? Is that a music box? It's the beauty lead.
Yeah.
Here we have like part 2 of the lead, so I put it here. Yeah, I mean, bell piano is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, yeah, this one we didn't even use. We can see how it sounds with the violin here. The thing is, it works, but I don't think it works in the night, so I just take it out because it's not really like adding something amazing to it. It's just functional and you could use it. But for me, it sounds a bit too oriental almost and stuff. So in this case, I just take it out, so not to be bothered by it in the selection process. And yeah, then we have those guys here. Yeah, this is just the way that I name it, you know, like for me, like either like how it sounds like or how it feels like, you know, just for me to have like an idea. And this is of course the kick. Doesn't need to take up so much space, can make it smaller so that I can still see the numbers, but doesn't need to take so much space. Yeah, you see, like it's already getting bigger, and then like space is definitely an issue. So you can make sure that everything takes up the space that's needed. So this is like the last step before we go to the arrangement, because it's a lot easier to arrange when everything is well organized. Ah, yeah. So this is like beautiful. Yeah, Glocken. It's a German word. Glocke means bell also. Intro.
Glockenspiel.
Yeah, exactly. Glockenspiel.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Could listen to this forever. So, yeah, and this is then the guitar. And I can delete those guys for now. And the guitar I can delete here because it's not used in this one. So I don't want to have duplicates. I don't need it. And those are just the bow swells. We don't know if we're going to use them, but I don't want to like get rid of them entirely because they might come in handy at some point. I still like them enough to keep it there. Okay, this one is empty for now, so get rid of this one. All right, so I think we're pretty organized now and could go on with having a look at the arrangement in the next session. Because now we have the 2-hour mark. This is definitely my maximum. And yeah, I think it's a good point to end this session here. Unless you have any more questions.